All right, so now we're going to talk about, there are two more of the properties, and they call these inverse properties. Okay, so if you have a log, base b, and then you have b to the x as the argument, well, what does that equal? Okay, so you could think about it this way. You're raising the base to some power, but then you're unpowering it, I guess. And so you're going to be back to x. Another way to look at it is set that equal to y. Well, then if you change it to exponential form, you have b to the y equals b to the x. So what must y be? Well, it must be x, okay? So this whole part here evaluates to be just x. So log base b of b to the x equals x. That's the property. So it's just like if you had a number and you multiplied it by 3, but then you divided it by 3, you'd be back to your original number. So that's what's happening here. You have some power, you're taking a base, raising it to some power, but then you're going to take the logarithm of it, so you're going to be back to just whatever that exponent was. Okay? Um, okay. This one's huge. This one comes up all the time and we need it. So I'm going to call it property 3. That might be ordered differently in the textbook, but I think they have it as number 3. But that one gets used a lot. All right. The other one works similar idea, but it says if I have a base, but then I have an exponent where it's log base b of x, I'm going to put parentheses in this time, that whole thing just equals x. And again, you could say, well, let me take and make it equal to y. Say you don't know what it equals, even though I just told you. Okay, if you wrote that in logarithm form, it'd be log, here's the base, b, of, you have to go over here to get the argument, y, and that would equal the exponent, log base b of x. Well, think about it here for a minute. If the log in it is the same and the base is the same, then the arguments have to be equal if they're going to be equal to each other. So that's what's happening here. You're raising it to some power that you're taking the logarithm of. And so it's just going to equal the argument. Okay, so that's the property, but let me write it again. Base b to the exponent of log base b of x. I won't put the parentheses this time. It just equals the x. It just equals that argument. I don't see that property as often, but it's still valid. It's an inverse property. Okay, so here we go. So here we have log base 4 of 4 to the 5th power, right? Okay, so that's following the form log base b to the x, and the whole thing just equals the x, that exponent. So this just equals 5, and you're done. You recognize the property, and then you say, oh, this is what it equals because it's this property. All right, part B. Okay, so you have a base to the log base, same base, right, of x. And this whole thing just equals x. So whatever the argument is in that logarithm, that's what it's going to equal. So in this case, it's 9. And you're done. Okay?